just putting it out there, just emptying the clip, just letting it all be seen. I feel like God wouldn't give you so much if it's not supposed to be released, right? Right? Yeah, this is part 5 of this hobby-centered girly as a little bit of pressure about one of her hobbies. We're in week 2, and it's all about developing my theme, my genre, and also mapping out the ideas that's in my head. I know I'm not starting from scratch. I already had a novel, and I did that. I went through the outline, I went through the theme, I went through the character analysis, I went through all of those steps before actually writing. I wrote it, I finished it, and then I decided I had to add a little bit more to the characters, a little bit more to the setting, a little bit more to the theme, a little bit more. Instead of going all the way back to the top, mapping out my ideas again, I just went straight into editing. This week feels really, really productive and really, really helpful for my process because I need that. I really value structure and I really value that clarity and that outline. One thing my coach said was every idea you have, throw it out there. Some you'll save for later, some you'll just never see again, and it's fine. Just put everything down. It made me think about how I am approaching content and approaching sharing my journey. This week I had 2 pieces of content where I had an idea, narrated trend, and also sharing a scene that's not part of my book, but just me practicing writing. First time I released it, I put it out there, and then I'm like, oh dang, I should edit this or I should add that. And part of me was like, I wish I never put it out first. I wish I would have just waited. Part of me is also looking at it like it's an experiment. It's okay to go back and edit. It's okay to go back and revise. And it's also okay for people to see that. It's okay for people to see the whole process. You feel like you won't get the same amount of engagement as you did the first time, which is unfortunate, but it's also okay. It's life. Some will, some won't. So what, right? Sometimes the actors that are in the pilot episode aren't even in the series, actually. The way that they change things based on the experiment, the pilot, just putting it out there is how I want to approach this content. Of course, with my final book, it will all be packaged where I have rounds and rounds of edits, but at the end of it, there still might be something where I'm like, dang, I wish I would have added this, or dang, I wish I would have did that. It gives me space and opportunity for another book. Maybe add like a bonus scene, you know what I'm saying? There are other ways to incorporate it without holding it to yourself and releasing it because you are scared that it's not perfect or it's not complete. And to be supported by your community who sees your courage, I feel like I'm seeing all of that just by this experiment and just by trying things and changing things. So grateful that I'm betting on myself. Of course, people will see the outcomes, be celebrated and supported in its own right? But to celebrate the journey and celebrate the process, that's a different. Anyway, I'm excited about just putting it out there, just emptying the clip, just letting it all be seen. I feel like God wouldn't give you so much if it's not supposed to be released, right? Right? Yeah. Not being afraid to erase, not being afraid to scrap it, not being attached, because that was my #1 problem, being too attached. Releasing the attachment, just having fun with it. I'm just having fun with it, baby. I am. I truly am. So, yeah, hell yeah.